Distance means so little when a person means so much. I didn't figure this out until August of last year. I met this guy my sophomore year. His name is Jordan Whitehead. We had lunch together, and he had texted me a few times. After texting and seeing each other in the lunchroom time after time, we finally started to hang out. Before I knew it, we were dating, and even shortly after that, I knew this was the man I want to spend the rest of my life with. I was truly in love for the first time. A year went by, and Jordan was graduating high school. He had decided to go to lineman school. He tried it out and found out it just wasn't for him. Another year went by, and it was almost time for me to be graduating high school. Jordan still had not figured out what he wanted to do for the rest of his life. He knew staying around here and being content was not what he wanted. Finally, on March 9th of 2016, he decided on his career. What he told me that day would change both of our lives forever. Jordan officially had a 5-year contract with the United States Marine Corps. He was set to leave for boot camp on August 15th, 2016. Honestly, I was shocked. I didn't know how I felt about what he had done. All I did know is that if I wanted to be with him, I would have to deal with it. I'd done a lot of research, on boot camp mainly, because it was the first step in our long journey. We would have no communication for 13 weeks, except for handwritten letters. Jordan and I had not been apart for more than a week the whole 2 years we had been together. I knew this would be a struggle. On the 15th of August, 2016, Jordan went to boot camp, and I moved into Elder Hall at Sneed State Community College. It is easy to say my first semester of college was the hardest 3 months of my life. The days came and went, and so did the letters. Finally, after 86 long training days, it was time for me to head to Parris Island, South Carolina. I was finally going to get my Marine. Seeing him for the first time after 3 months was like a breath of fresh air. I was so nervous, yet so anxious at the same time. When we finally met and hugged, I was content. If only I could keep him in my arms like that forever. Jordan received 10 days of leave between boot camp and his next step, which was Marine combat training. I was going to cherish every moment of the 10 precious days I had with him. We arrived back home on November the 10th. Jordan had planned a nice evening for us at an outdoor mall in Huntsville. We would eat and shop till we dropped. Little did I know that I would have a very eventful night. After eating the tasty pasta and walking around in the cold November air, I was stopped to turn around and see my whole family standing behind me. When I turned back around, I see Jordan on his knee. He says, "Alora, will you marry me?" Tears filled my eyes as I answered with a soft yes, and everyone cheered and celebrated. I was going to marry my best friend. The 10 days went by so fast. We were very busy thinking ahead, planning, and talking about what was going to happen next. Jordan would be home one time between his Marine combat training and MOS school. That time would be Christmas. We thought long and hard and finally decided the best time for us to have our wedding was when we knew for sure he was going to be home. Christmas. We set the date for December 30th, 2016. I had a little over a month to plan a whole wedding. What made it even harder was that my now fiancé would be across the country training during the whole wedding planning process. I had to make all the decisions on my own. My family and friends were amazing and helped me through this sudden event. November turned to December, and it was almost time for Jordan to come home. All the planning was coming to a wrap, and everything was falling into place. On December 30th, 2016, I became Mrs. Jordan Whitehead. The wedding went perfect, just like I had planned. Jordan was set to leave back out on January the 3rd, so we had a few short days for a weekend honeymoon. We ended up going to Nashville, Tennessee. It rained the whole time, and Jordan and I were both sick, but we made the best of it. We saw Keith Urban in downtown Nashville, while the music note dropped at midnight on New Year's Eve. We ate wonderful food and enjoyed our last days together. The 3rd came too quickly, and it was once time to say goodbye again, but this time to my husband. It never gets easier. This time even felt a little harder than the others. I wouldn't see Jordan any until my school was over in May. This time would be the longest we had ever been apart. I dropped him off at Atlanta International Airport and cried all the way back to Boaz, Alabama. But I knew I had to be strong. I had to be strong for my husband and reassure him we would make it through these next 5 months. We talk on the phone every day and FaceTime as much as possible. We have already made it through 1 month of being apart, and so far it is going as well as expected. Only 4 more months of being apart, then I get to hold my forever in my arms again.